Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday Tips with Dr. Alison DiBarto Goggin. I am going to talk to you today about liver health, cholesterol, everything you need to know. So I want to go through this really fast in the beginning, and then I'll kind of expand more at the end. So if you're watching and you want to get to the root of what's going on, you're going to get it right away. So let's just get started. What is cholesterol? So cholesterol is a waxy, sticky substance that our body creates in the liver, and it is the basis of all of our hormones. It is the basis of our cell walls, of our nerves. It helps the brain. So cholesterol has really been vilified in that, oh my gosh, it causes heart attacks and blocks your arteries, and all cholesterol is bad. And we want to eat all these low-fat diets, and thankfully the tides are turning. We're getting away from that, but we still really need to focus on what is going on inside of the body. So, why do we have high cholesterol? And most of those reasons is because of inflammation, stress, toxins, really bad diet, sugar, and it destroys the lining of our arteries. So, the hard thing about cholesterol and this type of issue is that we don't feel it until it's too late. We're not like, ooh, my arteries feel clogged today. We just go about living our lives until something drastic happens. So, let's see, can we see this? So in our body, we have our arteries. And I'm going to try and draw a picture, but I don't know if this is going to work as well. So we have our arteries and our blood's going through them. So what happens is that with inflammation, with stress, with diet, with eating too much sugar, with our body being out of balance. So imagine with me here with my hands, artery. And then when we look on the walls that line them, they start to get worn down. And we have all of these layers in our arteries to protect them. And what happens is they start to crack and break apart. So, do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing if the lining of our arteries crack and fall apart? That's a bad thing. So, what happens is that cholesterol comes around, so my little Play-Doh, and starts damming up the arteries. So look, now it's whole again. There's still the crack, but the cholesterol came in, made a nice little package, and now our artery's all sealed up. So what does that mean though on the inside of this artery is that now you have this cholesterol buildup. And I'm out of Play-Doh. So the cholesterol keeps building up. And then when you look at it from the side, now we have this big blockage. So that's where our arteries become blocked and people become very sick and die. So let's see what else is next. So, what happens if you're taking medication and you take away that cholesterol? Well, that plug is gone, and now you still have this break. So, you're still dealing with the inflammation, you're still dealing with extremely weak arteries, and you're still going to be very, very sick. So, we need to fix that as the root cause. So, Dr. Hyman, Mark Hyman says the singular focus of treating cholesterol as a means to prevent heart attacks is leading to the deaths of millions of people because the real underlying cause of the majority of heart disease is not being diagnosed or treated by most physicians. And that is absolutely true. Looking at cholesterol as the problem is failing everyone. So, what does it look like if you may have a cholesterol problem outside of blood work? Because as we know, blood work can look normal, but you still feel really sick. So, what that looks like is insulin sensitivity, where you're very sensitive to sugar or your body's just not digesting. Diabetes, prediabetes counts as this because it is the primary factor in heart disease. So, that's that inflammation that's breaking apart, remember, your arteries where cholesterol is sticking and causing all these issues. B vitamin deficiencies, high blood pressure is a sign that something's going on with your arteries. Hormone imbalances, because if you don't have good amounts of healthy cholesterol, that is the base for all of your hormones, your estrogen, your testosterone, your progesterone for both men and women, that you need to have good cholesterol levels. You need to have healthy cholesterol levels. Overweight is often a common sign of really deep-seated inflammation, and as well as that visceral fat. So what visceral fat is organ fat, beer belly type fat. So not to shame anyone, but if your six pack is on the outside of your belly, that means there's too much fat buildup around your organs. They can't function. There's too much inflammation, and that's going to down the road lead to metabolic crisis, heart disease, diabetes, crises that could have been avoided in the beginning. And then men who can't achieve or maintain erections. And this is really important, and I wanted to talk about this in the beginning because for men, this is a severe issue. Because if you think about it, any artery that's breaking can't accept blood flow. So men struggle with that, and then they take a little blue pill, and it forces all the blood through, and then everything cracks, and it's called the one and done pill because when your arteries burst, that's the end of the game. So it's really important for men who are struggling with weight, heart disease, high cholesterol, to also be checked for sleep apnea because that lowers your testosterone levels and it also can cause hypertension. So we have to look at this from a bird's eye view. What's going on? Where is this coming from? Where is the inflammation happening? Instead of just going, well, here, just take this pill and go have some fun and come back and we'll just refill it, because there's a deeper seated problem going on, and that is a major sign for men to know that they are struggling with all over inflammation. Because if there's arteries in one place that aren't functioning, there's arteries in other places like your heart, your liver, your kidney, everywhere that are not going to be functioning. Okay, so let's talk about how to fix it really quick. So now that you know that the cholesterol issue is not a food issue, because our liver will make as much cholesterol as it needs. So if you eat more cholesterol, your body will make less. So it comes into a balance. If you go fat-free completely, then you're not taking it in, so your liver will make more. So there's always a balance. So I'm not as worried about the food causing the cholesterol issue outside of the fact that if you're eating too much sugar, if you're drinking soda all day long, soda will cause these issues. It will cause cholesterol issues, inflammation, hormone imbalances, all of it. Everyone has to get off of soda, especially diet soda, because of all of those chemicals. And then we need to get that inflammation down. So number one, multivitamin, multi-antioxidant, multi-omega. And what that means, as always, is the Lifelong Vitality Kit from doTERRA, which is always right behind me, right there, because it covers all of your bases. It is going to help with inflammation. It is going to help with pain. It is going to cover everything. It's so, so easy. And those omegas will support your liver to make healthy levels of cholesterol. So that way you're getting good fats. You're not getting bogged down with all of these negative side effects and chemicals from taking really omegas that are rancid, because so many on the market are rancid and won't do anything for you. And some of them will even cause liver dysfunction. So I stick with the companies that I know and love. So Lifelong Vitality for the anti-inflammatories, for the good nutrition to help seal up your arteries, and it's whole food, and then the omegas will do the same. Liposomal C. So vitamin C is an excellent sealer of arteries to go in and close everything down. I like the liposomal from DiBarto because it gets into your cells much more quickly to work on supporting healing the arteries, to support rebuilding the lining of the arteries. So vitamin C is awesome for that, but again, it's one part of this. So don't go run out and be like, oh, I'm going to take double on my vitamin C and load up, or really just eat LLV and eat pizza and beer and wings all day long, because that's not going to help you either. So I love my LLV. It's a game changer. And this is why, because it's getting to the root cause of the inflammation along with diet, exercise, all of that. Magnesium deficiency is so common in hypertension that I always love to do nutrition tests and checks, because those types of deficiency, B complex and magnesium, are very, very common. So that can be as simple as Patch MD sells the patches. I like to use the B complex patch, and you just slap it on and then you're good for Bs for a while, because transdermal nutrition seems to work better than having to go through digestion, because most people's digestive systems are super messed up because we're so stressed and so inflamed. And that's what the liposomals do too, is they circumvent going through the liver and the digestive system, so our body can use them rapidly and immediately. It's very easy. Berberine and red yeast rice are some of my go-tos for extra things, because it significantly lowers cholesterol. So many people come to me and they're like, Allison, my numbers are in the 300s and the 400s, and if I don't get this down, there's a lot of horror stories out there. So if we need to get something down really, really, really quickly, that red yeast rice, I always mess it up, um, can really significantly lower cholesterol to get it down fast, and then we can start working on all of those inflammation protocols. And then the very foods that you crave are typically the ones that are causing that inflammation, like the sugars, the candies, especially as we're going into the holiday season and we're going to be eating a lot of cakes and cookies. And it's not to say don't enjoy yourself, but finding that balance in the foods that you love, the foods that you crave, finding out why you crave them would be really, really helpful to you. And then balancing that with making sure you are getting really good nutrition and making sure that you are drinking your water, supplementing your gut with digestive enzymes like pterozymes, supporting your liver with zendocrine to make sure just you have this complete package and that you have a plan in place. And then on top of that, maintaining your blood sugar is incredibly important to supporting your arteries, because if you're constantly pumping sugar in, one of the ways I know someone has a severe sugar problem in their body, whether you call it insulin desensitization, is that if you eat dinner or you eat any meal, and right after that meal, you're like, man, I need to go to Dairy Queen and eat some sugar. What that actually means is your body is not using sugar enough. Your pancreas is not able to release that insulin. So what your body is asking you to do is say, hey, you just ate this big meal, but I can't get enough insulin out. Will you punch me in the face with some sugar so I will release more insulin to drive that sugar and fats into your cells so you can digest them and feel better? So if you're craving sugar after a meal or sweets or candies or something like that, that means you need digestive enzymes. You need something to help break down the sugar. You need to give your pancreas a break and really focus on the foods that you're eating. Gymnema is an excellent, excellent herb to help maintain blood sugar. It will help cut down on cravings and it will help rebuild the pancreas. And there's a lot of other things that we can do. So that's when you message me. So some of the testing that we can do is just your basic lipid profile, your basic cholesterols, HDL, LDL. There's some very intense labs. So if you've been struggling with this issue for a long time, Quest has an amazing panel that will look at very different ways that your body is using it. Patricia says, sounds like a lot of stuff. So what do I start with? I think the easiest thing to start with, honestly, would be to call me and let me know what's going on and say, hey, this is where my cholesterol numbers are at. What can we do? Or where is this coming from? And then we could do a really in-depth health history to figure out, why is this happening? Where is it coming from? And then heal that root cause. Karina says, what are the correlations between type 1 diabetes and cholesterol? What was the blood sugar support? So Gymnema, Gynmena. So gym, like you're going to the gym, and then NEMA. That is the herb. The correlations between type 1 diabetes and cholesterol. That's a completely different ballgame, to be completely honest. I think it's hit or miss depending on how that person's inflammation is being handled through that external insulin that you have to have. And it's also completely different because it didn't come from diet or diabetes. It's not something that we can reverse. So that's a really good question. I would still recommend doing the same things, which is healthy lifestyle, taking the LLV, taking enzymes to help support your gut and your nutrition, making sure that you are balancing your blood sugar, which is obviously way more apparent and obvious for those with type 1 diabetes versus type 2s or just prediabetes or insulin sensitivity. So that's a great question. The other tests I would recommend looking at are heavy metal testing, because that can also throw that off. And always we check hormone status, because we need to make sure, like I said, for men, is this a testosterone issue? Where is it coming from and why is really easy. For women, it gets a little bit more complicated. But if you're struggling with hormone issues and it's not coming from one of those hormone issues like the brain or the ovaries, then we need to make sure it's not an inflammatory or a cholesterol issue. So my thought for you today, because this is complicated, this is the most common denominator in most people's illnesses is inflammation, pain, heart attack. Many people are very concerned. We have a lot of genetics with this, and I would recommend calling me, or sending me a Facebook message, honestly, and we do a 30-minute consultation to say, what's going on? What have you tried? What's worked? What hasn't worked? What are your numbers looking like? And then we can talk about making a game plan for you. I do offer a 3-month program where we talk every week to make sure that you are getting the support you need, that the support you are getting is working, because things can change very, very quickly. I've had numbers change within 2 weeks, and then we have to completely remodify the plan, which is amazing. But you need to have that support and someone to really hold your hand and let you know that you're not alone. So shoot me a message. Let's get you set up, and we will get your body back to healthy, happy, and living your best life. So thanks everyone for tuning in. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to post below. Let me know what's going on, or shoot me a message and we'll get you taken care of. All right. I will see you next Tuesday for the next Tuesday tips. Patricia said, no idea how this all connected. Thanks for the info. Thank you so much. You are very, very welcome. I'm so glad you were able to tune in and hang out with me today. All right, bye everybody.